What would you do if one day you discovered that the person with whom you have shared every important moment of your life is hiding a devastating secret? It was a day like any other, but that day marked the beginning of a radical change in Marco's life. Without knowing exactly what he was about to face, he took time off from work to meet with a divorce lawyer. His life, apparently calm and orderly, was about to be overwhelmed by events that would test all his certainties. Before continuing, subscribe to our channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our stories. Marco, a 45-year-old man, had spent the last 17 years with Valeria, the woman he thought would be his forever companion. Together they had built a life, a welcoming home, a family with 2 children, and they had overcome many difficulties together, such as Valeria's return to university and the raising of their children. Marco worked as an architect, a job he was passionate about because it allowed him to transform ideas into reality and leave a tangible mark on the world through his projects. Valeria, on the other hand, was a primary school teacher, busy with her work and managing the family. One evening, while Marco was sorting out some documents in the living room, his gaze accidentally fell on a phone that had been left on the table. An unexpected and clearly explicit message appeared on the screen, leaving him speechless. That moment remained etched in his mind, like an open wound that he could not ignore. Doubt began to creep in slowly, like a poison that corroded the trust he had always placed in his wife. In the days that followed, Marco tried to stay calm and not let his suspicions overwhelm him. He asked Valeria whose phone it was, and she replied that the school had given it to her for work-related communications. The explanation seemed plausible, but something still didn't convince him. He decided to investigate further, trying to find every little clue that could confirm or deny his fears. One afternoon, during a chat with a colleague of Valeria, Marco made a shocking discovery. The school did not provide work phones to teachers, but only to high-level administrators. Valeria was not one of them. Heartbroken, Marco realized that he had to face the situation. He could no longer ignore what was happening. What he had read in that message was like a stab in the heart. It left no room for any interpretation. Are you enjoying this story? Before you see how it ends, subscribe to our channel and activate notifications. He took a day off and went to see a divorce lawyer. The news he received was not encouraging. They lived in a country with laws that allowed for division of property and no-fault divorce. This meant that Valeria could have a significant portion of the house, her salary, and child support. The prospect of financial ruin threw him into an abyss of despair. Confused and distraught, Marco decided to confide in Sarah, a co-worker and longtime friend. Sarah, who had been through a similar experience, immediately understood the pain Marco was feeling. Her words were enlightening. If the path you're on only brings you pain, it's time to choose a new path. Marco realized he had to take matters into his own hands, not only to protect himself, but also for the future of his children. With great determination, Marco began to carefully plan his next steps. He realized that he needed to change careers so he could spend more time with his children, becoming a stable presence in their lives. He spoke with his supervisor and was able to secure a transfer to a less demanding position that would allow him to work from home. With the new time available, Marco devoted himself completely to his children, becoming their main point of reference. He accompanied them to school, helped them with their homework, and took care of preparing dinner for them. This new role brought him an unexpected joy and a sense of accomplishment that he had never felt before. But Marco knew that to have a real chance of coming out on top, he also had to improve Valeria's work situation. He suggested she enroll in a master's program, promising to take care of everything else. Valeria, initially reluctant, agreed, perhaps seeing it as a chance to devote more time to her lover Lorenzo. For 3 years, Marco endured the pain of knowing that Valeria was cheating on him. Every time he saw the excitement in her eyes, he knew it was for Lorenzo, not for him. But he continued to play the part of the unsuspecting husband, finding comfort in a secret relationship with Sarah. Their relationship was not passionate, but it was a mutual support that helped them stay calm and confident in the future. After 3.5 years, Valeria completed her program and received a promotion. Her salary increased significantly, surpassing Marco's. It was then that Marco knew it was time to take action. He booked an appointment with the lawyer, this time with a much more favorable financial situation than 3 years earlier. He returned home and, taking advantage of the absence of his children, had the divorce papers served on Valeria by a bailiff. Valeria was incredulous and shocked. Marco, with icy calm, told her that he knew about her relationship with Lorenzo. Valeria's anger and despair exploded in a scream, but Marco remained impassive. He told her that she could go live with Lorenzo and that he would not tell the children. Valeria packed her bags and left. Marco, although hurt, managed to stay calm for the sake of his children. He took them to family therapy to help them manage the situation. Over time, they managed to re-establish a balance. Valeria, due to her increasingly demanding work, lost a lot of precious time with her children. Marco, although sorry for them, knew that it was the result of Valeria's choices. When Valeria learned that Marco had started a new relationship with Sarah, her reaction was surprisingly composed. She looked at him with a sort of respect, but she couldn't help but confess that Lorenzo had left her for a younger colleague. Marco, however, felt no sense of compassion. The years of pain and frustration had hardened him, but he finally felt free to look to the future with a new serenity. The difficulties he had experienced had a negative impact on Marco's health, with problems caused by stress and pain. However, now that he had found a new stability and his children were at his side, he felt he had overcome the greatest challenge of his life. The divorce had been finalized, and Marco had managed to keep his house, his income, and above all, the serenity of his children. Valeria, despite her professional successes, had lost much more on a personal level, while Marco, despite choosing not to get involved again, had found a balance that satisfied him and finally made him serene. And you? Would you have had the strength to endure 3 long years of betrayal? Write it in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video till the end. See you next time.